sorry, Radiohead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Radiohead. It's time for another installment of the American Pancake Vloggy Thingy. Today, instead of doing a track review or a song of the day, I thought I'd speak a little bit about my thoughts on music being kind of a sonic Rorschach test. How a song might have a particular meaning from the songwriter's point of view, but each person that listens to it puts their own meaning onto the song. Obviously, there are different levels of listening to music. There could be music as background fodder while we're doing things, we could be listening to music very deeply and intently. You could be listening to music in a live performance setting. You could be listening at a party. And all these different ways of listening to music impart different levels of how the music hits us internally and emotionally. Another thing that fascinates me is how music pushes emotional buttons for a number of reasons. When I used to write songs, I would do everything in my power to not write a song that sounded like another song, and maybe go overboard even in that attempt, because I think you can go overboard to the degree that you negate melodies and negate progressions that are coming to you naturally because they may sound similar to some other song or make you think of a song. And as I'm older now, I think actually that comfort of an old melody or something, or some sonic presence of a past song, not intentionally putting it in your song, but if it happens to just naturally happen, I think there's a big benefit to that. And I think that's why people will gravitate to certain songs, because on a subconscious level, they may not even know it, on a subconscious level, there's sounds in that new song that they're hearing that is evoking feelings from songs that they heard in their past. I think that's a powerful emotional marker on them, and it could be the button can be pushed, and you can awaken certain feelings that you're not even aware of. But maybe the most important way that music imprints us, I think, is the deep connection you have with a parent or another loved one when a particular song or style of music is around at the moment. So often I talk to people, and the joyfulness of having a certain kind of music or an artist playing and being part of their lives when they're little around their parents, assuming that this is a good parental relationship, that sets a deep emotional chord and a deep musical chord in them that could last a lifetime. Another thing that interests me is how certain songs or music or artists can be so impactful at a certain time in your life, and forevermore that artist or that song will evoke that same memory, or you hear it time and time again that people say, this album got me through this tough time, this artist got me through this tough time. Or conversely, there could be songs that were around when you were having devastating things happen to you, and to this day that awful feeling will still haunt you like a ghost when you hear that particular song. Years ago, I was heavily into Radiohead, and I still love Radiohead, but at this particular time in my life, I was like pretty obsessed with Radiohead and the OK Computer album. And we were moving from a house in South Orange County, California, under not the best of circumstances. It was a home that we had to move from that kind of, I don't want to get into the personal aspect of it too much because there's other people involved, but we had to sell the home, and didn't really make any money on the sale. It just wasn't a good situation. And so the whole moving process was not a happy one. And I remember the whole house was empty. It was an upstairs and downstairs, and the whole living space was empty. And my wife was already miles and miles away at the new location, getting things set up. And my kids were with me. Now, I distinctly remember that the OK Computer CD was on the boombox, and the sounds it was resonating, bouncing off the walls in this now empty house. There were just a few remaining pieces of furniture in the home. And my youngest one, she was lying under a end table that had a glass top, and she was just lying underneath the table, kind of staring up through the glass as No Surprises by Radiohead was playing. And she was just quietly crying. I mean, it just gives me chills to this day. And this sound of the song, she didn't understand the lyrical aspect of the song, but the sound of the song, sound of Tom York's melody and his vocal performance was just so incredibly sad to her that it affected her that way. And I felt really bad. I felt really terrible that I was playing this song at this emotional moment anyways, and I never thought that it would, that a child would feel that feeling from a Radiohead song, but they do. And to this day, now that she's an adult, she still remembers that moment, and she's going to remember that moment her entire life. She loves Radiohead still, she did, but the power of that melody and that sadness and that song, it does hit you, and it hits you deep. And so again, it's interesting to me how we put our own emotional baggage combined with song cues from other songs in our subconscious, maybe cues or subconscious things that happened when other songs were playing, or when a similar sound was playing when we were young and around our family. All these aspects, all these sonic buttons, all these things that tie in with your emotions and the psychological things that's happening in your brain, that's all happening as you're listening to music and as you're listening to new songs. All these cues are happening. All these things under the surface are happening that you may not even know about. And that's an interesting aspect of music. I hope you found this somewhat interesting or made you think of music differently. I'd also love if you could write me down below on some song that impacted you in a deeply emotional way. Or maybe in a funny way or whatever way, but some kind of way that you will always remember. And if you do recognize that there's some songs that push emotional buttons because the song was around when it was played in your house when you were a child, or there was some kind of impactful real event that is tied forever to a song or a type of music or an artist, let me know about it. I think it'd be interesting to delve into. So this was a little bit different than a song review. It was a little bit more scattered. It was a little bit more off the cuff. Just something I've been thinking about today. And I think I may do some research and see what other psychologists and musicologists are saying online or whatever. But I hope you found it somewhat interesting. And again, Radiohead, I apologize for the beginning of this video. So this has been another installment of the American Pancake vloggy thing, a little off the cuff installment, and next one around we'll get back to the song of the day. Thanks. Talk to you later.